Okay, this works. Can you please take your seat so that we can continue our program? We're going to talk about agroecology practices and systems, and I want to move our mindset a little bit from this morning, where we've seen how many challenges there are with the use of pesticides. We've got quite some insight in what they do for harm to our health, but also to our public and common goods. We've also talked in the opening about what needs to happen, what kind of changes are needed, and Professor Heron quite clearly explained that we need to make a transformation, a systemic transformation. And now we are at a point that we actually can look at what that means. And it's very good news, because there are examples out there to show what does it mean doing agroecology in practice. So we will be listening to two practical examples, both from East Africa. And we will also be listening to how organizations take up these examples and these initiatives and put them in a bigger program so that we can get a full transformation. And that's where I want to get our attention for now. In the interest of time, each of the speakers that we will have now will have about 10 minutes to present their case. And afterwards, we will not have a panel discussion, but after that we will move into the different breakout sessions. So I thank you for your understanding for that. So we will be listening first to Professor Khan, and he will present us the push-pull technology, which is for me a real good and practical example on how agroecology works, how a systemic approach to an agroecology system works. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Emma. Can I have this slide? To move the slide? Somebody should be in it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we can have the first slide. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am a principal scientist working with the International Rice Research Institute. International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology. And before I was at International Rice Research Institute. And I had worked for 26 years now. And when Dr. Hans Heron was our DG, we started this program on the push-pull, and he was highly supportive of this program and helped me to come to where I am. And when he left and he started the BioVision Foundation, since then he has been funded the push-pull program, and we still have the funding from the push-pull, in addition to other funding agencies which are funding. Can I have the first slide? Okay. As you see, the title is Push-Pull Technology for Food Security and Environmental Sustainability. Okay. My work was on cereals, and it is still on cereals, because cereal is the main food for Africa. And farmers face several problems. They face stem borers, which are very major, parasitic striga weed, and recently the fall armyworm has invaded Africa from Americas. We have food safety, that is aflatoxin, which farmers get in their food. And then this climate change and poor soil fertility. So how can we solve all this problem in one go and let the resource poor farmer not apply any pesticide, not apply any fertilizer, but still achieve a good yield? And that was the aim of developing this push-pull technology. Okay. So what is push-pull technology? It is a novel approach to integrated pest management, which was developed on understanding the chemical ecology of plants, what plant produces, what chemical plant produces, and how it is perceived by other plants or other insects. And if we understand that, we can understand what is happening in the nature. And by understanding that, we can divert the insects, insect pest, or the useful insects from one plant to another plant and get them trapped or repelled. So that was the main aim. So we selected two very powerful plants. One was highly repulsive to the insect, but still a very useful plant because it is a plant which is used as a fodder. And the other plant was an attractive plant, and the attractive plant can attract the insect through the chemicals it produces, but does not allow its development. And that's how okay. This is how a push-pull field looks like, and there are two plants here. At the bottom you see there are two plants. One is a grass, which is called Napier grass or Pennisetum purpureum, because these insects have been evolved in Africa and maize has been brought from South America. So these insects still have very good association with the grasses. So they like to lay their egg more on the grasses, that we discovered, than the maize. So if you give a choice between maize or corn and the grasses receive more egg. But they are nutritionally poor and they don't allow the insect to develop into adulthood. So most of the insect which the eggs have laid has been died. The other plant is a legume, and it is a fodder legume, which is called Desmodium. Desmodium is a very beneficial plant. It is a fodder for the cattle, so both of them are fodder. And it repels the insect. It produces the chemical which the insects don't like. And that's why they don't lay egg on the maize plant. But they are attracted on the plant which are planted at the border. They go and lay their egg. Yeah, can lay their egg on the border, and that plant does not allow its development. So that's why it is called pull and push. One plant is pulling, and the other plant is. So we do it here. And this is. Oh, yes, okay. So this is all the chemistry which understood. By doing all the understanding of the chemistry, these are the chemicals which are produced by the pull plant and push plant, and these are the chemicals which are produced by the root plants. I did not tell that the parasitic astraga weed is controlled by some of these chemicals which are produced by the. Something is happening. Okay. These are the root chemicals which control the parasitic astraga weed. So farmers don't have to apply any herbicide. These chemicals they kill the seeds which are in the soil. So, and we understand the whole chemistry now. And this is the farmer. When we started this technology in 1998, that was the first conventional push-pull. We call it now first generation push-pull. The farmer which had multiple problems of astraga and stem borer. Can we go back? Yeah. Can transform the field just by planting two plants. One is intercrop, the other was on the periphery. Both the plants are perennial, and they provide the fodder for the year-round fodder for the farmer, and the farmer can increase the yield. As you see here, the yield has been increased 2 to 2.5 times, just by doing that and controlling two important pests. But also Desmodium, which is a legume, fixes nitrogen in the soil. So we took it to the farmers, and farmers liked it. They started planting it. This was the conventional push pull. But later, there was the farmers faced the climate change, and we still had to adapt the push pull, and we got funding from European Union, and also, of course, from BioVision to work on the further science of the new plants, which were more drought tolerant, and we developed a climate adapted push pull, and now we call it second generation push pull, which we still have two plants, but we have two plants. One was a green leaf Desmodium and Bracharia at the border, and both of them were highly drought tolerant. And farmers had the same or better benefits. As you can see here, the yield increase was much higher here as compared to before. But the farmers also got enough fodder from both the plants and used it to rear the livestock. Many of them had cattle, and many of them had dairy cows and dairy goats, and they had more milk in the household. So they combined the farming and reduced the pest problem, but used these plants, the companion plants, to feed their cattle and have milk in the household. Okay. Push pull not only provided more fodder, but it also increased the soil health, because the Desmodium, which was a legume, which was intercropped with maize, was increased the nitrogen fixation and also the carbon sequestration. So this work we are still doing with Cornell University and trying to publish it, which shows that just by planting the two plants with the maize, we are improving the soil. Not only carbon sequestration and nitrogen, but it also improves the organic matter in the soil, which is very, very important, organic matter, because most of the Africa soil has lost the organic matter. So we have shown that the organic matter can be improved by planting the push pull. Food safety is very important. As you see here, aflatoxin. Most of the farmers are eating maize, which is full of aflatoxin, and that lot of maize which is sold in the market has aflatoxin. Not only that, sometimes they feed it to the cattle, and aflatoxin comes through the milk. And we have shown that if the maize is planted in the push pull, it reduces the stem borers and other chewing insects which feed on the cob, and it reduces aflatoxin infection significantly. The other most recent pest which invaded Africa in 2016 is fall armyworm. As you see this larva there, and it shreds the leaf and feeds also on the cob. And this is the most damaging pest which Africa has ever seen, and if nothing is done, it is going to put 100 million of people in hunger in Africa. But we accidentally found that the push pull, as you see here, the farmer on the top, he did not plant the push pull. All his maize was robbed by fall armyworm, and when he planted there, his maize was saved from the fall armyworm. And this is the fall armyworm infestation on the maize crop which was under push-pull and without push-pull. The red one is without push-pull and this is with push-pull, and you can see how much it's saving against this pest. So what push-pull is doing, it is controlling the stem borer, parasitic astraga weed, fodder and milk production. It is improving. It is climate change adaptation because we adapted it to climate change. Soil fertility improvement, aflatoxin control, and fall armyworm. So one technology can do several things. If you understand what the plants do and what chemicals they produce and how plant interact with the other plants. And this is all it can do. It can control the pest. It can increase the yield. It can increase the fodder production. It can improve the soil. It can prevent the biodiversity because there is no pesticide being used. And it fulfills several sustainable development goals. It does not do all the 17, but it does at least 7 or 8 development goals. And the technology was mentioned by, in the United Nations by UN General Assembly, that this is a technology which the Africa should be using to increase the production sustainably. So push-pull had a special mention in UN General Assembly. So there are 350 million farmers who are suffering from striga weed, stem borers, climate change, fall armyworm, and if one technology can be used, they can get rid of many of these problems. And it was originally developed for maize, but now we are using it with sorghum, sugarcane, millet, and rice. And we are also conducting further research to bring this technology to cotton, coffee, and several horticultural crops, so that one concept can be used to several crops. We are trying to disseminate the technology in different ways, and we are using from the print material to TV, radio, farmer-to-farmer dissemination, to see that which one works better in which community. And we were really surprised to see that different communities perceive a technology in different way, and they learn the technologies in different way. Some communities like to learn from farmer to farmer. Other communities like to learn through radio or mass media or through printed material. So by understanding this, that how people or farmers learn about the technologies, we can use the fund in the right way to see that how this can be used, this can be disseminated in the right way. So now we are working in 11 countries. We have 8 here, but we have 11 countries. But I'm finishing. Yes. And there are 2 statements which is very important for this technology. M.S. Swaminathan said that push-pull technology, which is based on ecological principles, is the future for evergreen revolution. And he said that not only in Africa, but it can be also used outside Africa. The other quote is from Dr. Hans Herren, who is also World Food Prize laureate, and he sees it a technology which can be used also in a way, for sustainable agriculture for Africa. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you so much. I think this was a very, very interesting example of how a real refined system actually can support farmers and the environment, and yet it looks so simple. My question would be, do you have an estimation of how many farmers now are using this technology?
We recently had we did some survey, And ECP has a technology transfer department, which taking it up because when we working initially, we had only 50, 60, 70,000 farmers, but with help of technology transfer unit, which is also funded by BioVision, it has now been taken to 250,000 farmers. And we can see that it can move now very, very fast because there's a department which is just doing the dissemination of the technology. Whereas my group was more involved in the research, and we are still doing the research, but we will have a department which will be doing dissemination. They have reached 11 countries, and now they are reaching West Africa to see how it can be dissemination. So we see that in next 2 to 3 years, we might be reaching probably 1 million farmers.
Right, so
Yeah.
we talk about 250,000 farmers, right?
250,000 farmers, right.
You also showed us that there are 350 million in Sub-Saharan
They need the technology.
Yeah.
They need the technology.
So what does it need else then? I mean, the dissemination department of ICT is important, but maybe it needs something
It is probably the governments. The national governments can do, because now we are working more with the governments. And taking the support of the government, how can they integrate into their extension system? And we had very good lesson from Ethiopia and Rwanda, which they are trying to integrate into their national program. And with that, we hope that it can reach many more farmers.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Maybe we can give one more round of applause for Professor Khan.
Okay. I'll go and sit there because there's no panel discussion.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. So what we're going to do now is look into what some governments or intergovernmental organizations actually do to take up this idea and how to spread agroecology further. And first we will be staying in Africa to hear a little bit more about the Ecological Organic Agriculture Initiative. We heard about that this morning already. It's an initiative of the African Union that is there to promote organic and agroecological practices. And Sakari Makanya is going to tell us about the initiative and what it means and how does it work.
Okay. Good afternoon. Hey, you are sleeping. Good afternoon. Yes. I'm being given a very short time, so I'm going to take a brief. And good thing is that you have this, you can get it so that you can read it. So let's start. Okay, I'm saying I'm being given a very short time, but the good thing is that this one is for you, so you shall get it even after I present. So without taking more time, please let's go straight away to the presentation. Now, this presentation is about ecological organic agriculture. It's a decision which was made by heads of government in Africa. Let's move fast. Whoever is there. Forward. Okay. Now, my presentation has about 9 sections, so there are about 9. One of them is about the decision by the heads of state, the efforts to implement the decision, the framework and the footprints of EOA, the current status of EOA, the key achievements of EOA, also we shall also see some photographs, what I'm calling EOA in action, then the key challenges in the implementation of the same, and then the contact people, and then also the acknowledgement and the special thanks. Now, that is a decision. This is an initiative which you can even see the reference of the decision there. And particularly, it was to address the challenges facing farmers in agriculture. So it's a very, very important issue because it was discussed by heads of government, and then a decision was made. Now, what was the decision? That is actually, you can see that is actually the original decision which was made. First of all, they noted that organic agriculture is an issue. Then they expressed concern. They also requested, they made some requests. One of them to the new, that is NEPAD, so that actions can be taken. And then there was also a call for support by international communities to support. There are also a need to report what is happening. So this one is being done, and I'll walk you what happened after this decision was made. So, first of all, there was a workshop which was held in May 2011 at a place called Sakidep Kenya Thika. It was organized by Peram Kenya in collaboration with other key stakeholders. Now, who are these key stakeholders? We have Africa Union, that was Dr. Sarah Orembo. We have Dr. David Amdavi from Bivat. We have ISD, the late Sue Edwards. We have Mr. Ngoe Mutura from Sakidep Kenya. Nogam. We have also Kwan, National Coordinator, Mr. Kiari, Toam, Jordan Gama. So these are the people here. When you hear about UA, these are, I would say, the people who came together and then they formed that decision. I want to move very fast. First of all, just to understand the concepts about TOA is a very broad term. It also comprises many like organic farming, sustainable ecological agriculture, biointensive agriculture, permaculture, ecological farming, biodynamic agriculture, and agroecology. So all these are what you call ecological organic agriculture. I don't want to go to read every point, but the framework. I just want to talk about the framework because we have a very rough framework yes, this is the framework. We can see the vision. I don't want to read one by one. The mission, we have a mission there, then we have the goal. But the main point here is there to focus on the promotion of this initiative. Then these are the core values. These are the core values. You can see the last one is promote safe and nutrition and healthy food. Here we are talking about is not just eating food, but it's the food that you are eating. Is it healthy? Is it nutritious? Is it safe? Again, we have also what you call strategic objectives to increase the documentation, to systematically inform the producers, to increase markets for farmers, and also to promote stakeholder engagement. So these are the key pillars. This is very, very important. This part here is very important because EOA is implemented under 6 pillars. And which are these pillars? These pillars, one of them is called research, training, and extension, information and communication, value chain and market development, networking and partnership, policy and program development, and institutional capacity development. Those are the 6 pillars. In fact, this is like the hallmark. If you're implementing EOA, then it has to have like that framework. You may do 1 pillar or 2 pillars, but that is the framework of EOA. Now this thing is not fast enough, right? Can somebody use, can you go faster than me, the one who has the computer? Okay. No, I just wanted, first of all, I wanted to say how it is implemented. Sorry. First of all, the way EOA is implemented and the frameworks. National framework, we are trying to say that every country, there's a national platform which is coordinated by what you call country leading organizations and all the stakeholders, not only the CSOs. Here we include the government ministries, we include the research institutions, we include academic institutions like the universities, and then there's also a national coordinating committee, and then there's also the chair, mainly from the Minister of Agriculture, and then this can also be from the CSO, but really we want the chair, the design is that the chair should come from the Minister of Agriculture. Then we also have a regional structure where we have the most stakeholders again. It's not just only the CSOs, but all the stakeholders. Currently, we have 2 regional steering committees right now, one for East Africa and the other one for Western Africa. And then we have also continental platform. This consists of stakeholder representations. It has a continental steering committee, which is chaired by Africa Union, somebody from Africa Union. And there's also a secretariat, a continental secretariat, which is based at Bivat. For the regional secretariat for East Africa, it is based at Pelham. Please, I'm fast, but you understand that I'm trying to rush. So these are, I think, why focus. This is just an explanation. Why do you focus on this multi-land platform? We want to engagement with the farmer level. We want to promote networking. We want to build on building best practices, scaling out best practices. That's why we are doing it. Now this is like a document. I mean, this is like a page that is describing all that I've said. You can see we have the Continental Secretariat there, we have EOA Secretariat, we have the regional, we have the national platforms. So this is like this is like the page that actually defines what is EOA. Because you have it, please take time to stand it. Am I moving that way? Okay, these are the delivery approaches. We do needs assessment, baseline survey, meantime, and every time we are being informed by what we are doing, organizational capacity assessment for institutions, strengthening the capacity for EOA implementation, promoting partnership and networking, designing of bottom wave. This time we are saying, let us try to do programs that are benefiting farmers more. It's not just high-level platforms, but also systems that are promoting farmers. Then, again, promoting land and exchange visits and exposure visits. That is very, very important, particularly for farmers. So this is the current status of EOA. We have participating countries. Please listen very carefully. In Eastern Africa, we have Kenya and Uganda. These are supported by a funding partner called Swedish Society for Nature Conservation. In Eastern Africa, we also have Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda, and Ethiopia. These are supported by SDC. And then we have Western Africa, supported by, in Nigeria, Senegal, Benin, and Mali. They are supported by SDC. Now, the financial support is supported by 3 donors. One of them is SDC. The other one is CIDA, through the CIDA support. Then Africa Union, because they also support. Now, we have also 2 organizations. We call them lead coordinating organizations. We have Vision Africa Trust. They are also hosting the EOA Secretariat, Continental Secretariat. Then we have Peram Kenya, who are hosting the EOA Regional Secretariat. We also host the coordinator. Even BVAT also hosts the Secretariat for the Continental Secretariat. Now, in a nutshell, this is where EOA is being rolled out. You can see the 9 countries. And those are the lead. These are the what you call country lead organizations. In Kenya, you can see in Kenya, we have Senegal, we have Mali. All these in the 9 countries, these are the countries. Rwanda is the newest. As you can see, we have Rwanda Organic Movement. They are the ones who are hosting the same. I'm about to finish. I'm also pleading with the one controlling time to see I'm frustrated. Key achievements, institutional achievement, we have, there are many. Actually, we have many achievements at the national level, regional level. We also have at the continental level. But we have structures now. We have structures where EOA is operating. I think these are like now we have been talking about standard and mainstreaming EOA in the standard and the certification. All these you can see in Kenya we have 15 participatory guarantee systems. We have in Mali, Nigeria. These are things which have come out from an evaluation, so they are actually facts. But because I don't have the time, I don't have to go through all this. But we have a lot of impact. This program has a lot of impact since it started. These are also some more key achievements about policy, because we have been very keen on policy development. What about policy advocacy? How can we change the mindset of governments so that they can do things in favor of EOA? Now, these are also the... This thing is... Now, these are the key highlights. I don't have time to read them, but as you can see, there are very many. So this is part 1. There is also... So there are many. We even have what you call organic champions. Please allow me to introduce you because we have 3 organic champions who are in this. 2 of them are in this. One of the key outputs is that we have organic champions, people who have been recognized as champions, and I would like to ask them so that they can stand and then we see them. Please, they have the champions. Where are our champions? We have those 2. That's Dr. Joroge, and you can see there Dr. Matima. Please do it around and do it around and do it around. These people need yes. This thing is not quite. Now, I had, before I sit down, because I had 3 parting shots. 3 parting shots. One shot that I want to leave with you is that when you start something, don't use a road. You go through the bush so that people can follow you, they can follow the trials. That's what we have done in EOA, because this is the first initiative of its kind, and we have gone through, and you see now there are footprints. So that is one. Number 2, the second shot is that if you are here, what we are doing in EOA High is that you are trying to implement the ends of state decision. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? The third parting shot is that when we come to you, please, if you are here, maybe you are an individual, you are a funding partner, or you are an organization, for me is to call upon everybody to make sure that we implement this decision by ends of state, and it is for the benefit of smallholder farmers, particularly those who are rolling out organic agriculture. Thank you very much.
What I think is very, very interesting of the EOAI initiative is actually that it's been a decision by the African Union to focus more on organic agriculture, to set up structures in Africa to again lobby the African Union and the African governments to take up organic. And the lobby is being informed by all the practices that you've shown, by all the successes that are there. So I think this is a fantastic initiative, and I also appreciate your work in the EOAI. So thank you.
I wanted to introduce you people who are really taking up. Please, if you are, for example, you are involved in the Continental Steering Committee, can you stand up? If you are involved in the regional level, please stand up. Our coordinators, please stand up so that people can see you. If you want to know more about TOA, these are the people who are rolling out this. Hey, where are they? Where is Alex? I can't see Alex. I can't see Sarah. Sarah, remember there, she's the one who started. Rosina is there. Please, these are the people, and they need your support. So when they come to you, support them. Thank you.
So thank you again for showing us the initiative of the African Union to promote organic agriculture in Africa. There's also an initiative of the German government to help promoting organic agriculture in Africa. And the means for that are so-called knowledge platforms. And we're very pleased to have our colleague from Germany here, Ms. Dorit van Beenheim. She will tell us about the setup of those platforms. Please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon once again. My name is Dorit van Beenheim. I'm working for GIZ. And it's a pleasure for me to present this new project. This is not the right presentation. Sorry, we switched the order. So please start with my presentation. And it's a pleasure to introduce this new initiative. It's a new project which is called Knowledge Center for Organic Agriculture in Africa. It is a project which is financed by the German Development Corporation and implemented by GIZ, but the idea is to implement it with partner organizations in Africa, in 3 different regions. The project has started only recently, in the beginning of this year, and has a 5 years period of implementation. Could you start with the presentation, please? That's it. Thank you very much. Yes, are you next slide, please, or should I go? Yes. We were talking about the challenges already this morning. The global challenge is, of course, to eradicate hunger and malnutrition by 2030, while ensuring a long-term conservation of natural resources such as soil, water, and forests. I don't have to repeat this once more. With the presentations we heard this morning, I think everyone in this room at least is aware of this big challenge. And of course, we also heard this morning that business as usual is not an option. So we need a fundamental process of transformation of agriculture and food systems. And please, yes. And therefore, organic agriculture is one approach within the broader concept of agroecology. And from our understanding, organic agriculture can be key to reach the goals of sustainable development and to increase, meaning to contribute to the eradication of hunger, but also preserving the natural resources. Organic agriculture has shown that it has a great potential to increase yields, especially in low input areas. And we are talking about Africa, so the potential in Africa is very high. It has the potential of conserving biodiversity and natural resources, especially soil and water. It has also the potential to reduce costs, also by reducing external inputs and withdraw from synthetic pesticides. It has really a potential to contribute to long-term sustainable development in agriculture. And it can combine the intensification, increase of productivity with a conservation of natural resources. Africa is seen as the continent which has the greatest potential to increase and to expand organic agriculture, as according to the current statistics of FIBEL and IFOAM, the rate of organic agriculture area compared with overall agricultural land is at the lowest among all the continents. However, to expand organic agriculture, to extend it requires an in-depth understanding of ecological interrelationships, because agroecology is a complex system. It's a systematic approach which is needed. And so it means that it needs extensive knowledge in practices in agricultural production at all the different levels. Production, but also including processing and marketing. Practical knowledge, but also knowledge on methods and different approaches. With this introduction, based on this hypothesis and analysis, this new project had been started, the Knowledge Center for Organic Agriculture in Africa, which has as objective to implement knowledge hubs as an innovative strategy to promote organic agriculture in the different regions. And it's, this should be reached by 3 fields of action, 3 pillars. The first pillar would be preparing of knowledge. We know that knowledge, valuable knowledge is available. It's available at different levels. It's available at farmers' level with the practitioners. It is available also within research and innovation. However, this knowledge is not always available in the right language, in the right format, in the right place, at the right time. So preparing this knowledge, collecting this knowledge would be the first step. And the second field of action would be the dissemination of knowledge. And there, the knowledge hubs or the knowledge center would like to look at different methods of dissemination. Validated knowledge can be disseminated by different means. We are going to look at that in the next slide. And of course, the third field is networking, because key actors need to be are networking, and these networks need to be strengthened. So this is just shows how the approach of knowledge collection, validation, and dissemination can work at the different levels. I'm not going into the details, but of course, it is all about a collection of existing knowledge, of innovation, of validation, and dissemination at the different levels through different multipliers, also at different level, national level, and within the countries, and also on the level of the key actors, farmers, producers, processing units, and so on. As I said, the project is supposed to work in 3 regions in Africa. There will be 3 regional knowledge hubs in West Africa. The knowledge hub is supposed to be hosted in Senegal, with other countries in the region to be involved. East Africa, the knowledge hub will be hosted in Uganda, with other countries to be involved. And in Southern Africa, the country for hosting the hub will be Zambia, with partner countries to be involved. We started the project with regional networking meeting in exchange, or hosted by SECEM in Egypt. So there's also quite a lot of potential to exchange with SECEM and other organizations, actors involved in organic agriculture in Africa. And of course, we just heard the presentation done by Zachary on the EOAI. So there are several linkages and synergies between our 2 initiatives. There is one important means of knowledge management and dissemination will be a knowledge platform on which knowledge is compiled and also accessible. There will be one knowledge platform to be developed, which will have a region-specific sections. I know I'm hurrying up. I already talked about the project. Yes, the duration of the project. It is 5 years with a budget of approximately 10 million euro. And just to give you an example how one knowledge hub could look like, this is the example of East Africa. The knowledge hub will be hosted in Uganda. BioVision is the lead organization in the BioVision Africa Trust, is the lead organization in the management of the regional hub, with many partners to be involved at the different levels in the countries of the region, and also international partners. This is my last slide. As I said, it's a project which has just recently started. This is a great opportunity to share this information with you. And as we are talking about networking and knowledge management, that needs, of course, the exchange with many partners. This has already started here, and I hope there will be many other opportunities to exchange with you and continue in efficient knowledge management on organic agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please give a hand to it. I have one question for you, because you say the project is quite a big project and it also has a lot of ambitions, and it will end at some point. What is your vision? What is happening after that end? Can you help us with that?
Yes, already in the project design, it was meant that this project will be implemented with or by African partner organizations. That's why in the preparation period, actually, there had been a large call for proposals. So this information has been spread, and of course, looking at the management structure of the hub, I showed you the example of East Africa, and the management of the hub will be in the hands of African partner organizations. So that is the vision, and the objective that these knowledge hubs will continue after the end of the project, definitely.
Thank you. So really by anchoring them here in the continent, that's your way to take care of sustainability.
From the beginning.
Thank you very much. Thank you also the German government for this initiative. One more hand for Dorit, please.
Thank you.
I earlier said this morning that some of the things that we are doing here today is part of something bigger, and that is really we're looking globally currently on scaling up agroecology. We saw in this session that there are practical examples. The push-pull method is there. We can use that, we can replicate that. We know of the EOAI initiative that is also there to scale up agroecology practices here in Africa, and the knowledge of help to that end as well. And I'm also very happy then to now introduce our next and also final speaker in this session to actually tell us what is going on global level. So we are here part of something bigger that's happening on global level, on FAO level, and Dr. Emma Sidipandi, she's part of the Scaling Up Agroecology initiative, will tell us about that.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you, all the organizers, for inviting me to be here. It's a pleasure. It's my first time in Kenya, and it's really a big start to have this audience so involved in agroecology and in transformation in agriculture. I will present this initiative, this FAO and partners initiative called Scaling Up Agroecology, an integrated approach to achieve the SDGs. And we've heard a lot of in the previous presentation, how agroecology can contribute to achievement of the SDGs based in several other experiences. So I don't think it's needed to came back to this topic. But just a little bit, I will present how FAO are looking at agroecology right now as a multiple and evolving definitions, that different concepts. What FAO has been done in the last 6 years, and that resulted in the second symposium, international symposium on agroecology last year, where the initiative was launched. And I will present the Scaling Up initiative. So talking about general definitions, you know that each one that work with agroecology has his own definition. This morning we've heard about how different constituencies think about organic, permaculture, ecological, biological, etc. I like it very much the way that Dr. Herring presented this global idea of sustainable agriculture and agroecology as one of these approaches. But in general, all of us agree that agroecology is a science, a social movement, and a practice. And we saw this in the previous presentations. Other common points, I think we don't have to be into details on this, but we are talking about diversification of the production systems. We are talking about contextualizations of approaches. So we are talking about something that are tailored, that are in the territory, that are a co-innovation between farmers and researchers. We are talking about something that respects the food heritage and culture of each region or territory, as I said. We are talking about knowledge sharing. We create opportunities for women and youth, and a decentralized and territorial approach. This is the idea we all are talking about. FAO has developed these 10 elements of agroecology that was presented also by other speakers, and I will not go into details, but this is like a general guide that what are we talking about when we talk about agroecology and when we talk about, well, transition to agroecological new systems. We are talking about all these elements and all these elements in an integrated way. In that idea that agroecology contributes to leaving no one behind by addressing the agricultural sustainability challenge in an integrated and holistic way. Well, FAO, as you know, FAO was not working in agroecology for many, many years, but FAO realized that agroecology was already being done by farmers, practitioners, NGOs, researchers, academic people, and all around the world. And at a certain point, there were a pressure to be a space for all that people to come together and influence what FAO was doing. So in 2014, we had this first international seminar, Agroecology for Food Security and Nutrition, and it was the first time that officially agroecology entered FAO program. And from that point, we discussed a bigger process to promote this discussion all around the world. And 7 regional seminars were held in different parts. And in 2018, we had the second international seminar, Scaling Up Agroecology to Achieve the SDGs. This seminar is not, and the results in the Scaling Up Agroecology, the results of the seminar are not a product from FAO, by FAO, if I can say. It's a global discussion, is a result of these multi-stakeholders consultations, and it was after presented to FAO governing bodies, and it was approved by them, and now the Scaling Up Agroecology initiative is officially an initiative not only from FAO, but it is part of a joint effort with other UN partners, UN organizations such as UNEP, UNDP, WHO, CBD, World Food Programme, IFAD, and others. So some conclusions from this. Oh, this is a problem with this. Okay. Some conclusions that came out from this dialogue, international dialogue, is that agroecology goes beyond technical solutions. It's not about incremental changes, and it's about a genuine transformative change. We have already heard about that this morning, but it's important to have in mind that agroecology focuses on people, on farmers, consumers at the center. This is very innovative. Let's see, if we change from the old paradigm that talk about production, yields, income per hectare, and etc. We are talking about another thing. Agroecology takes a system approach to tackle the root causes of poverty and food insecurity in unsustainable practices. Agroecology is an opportunity to rethink our system. So we really think that this is a big change in FAO perspective, and we are trying to make it real in the next years. This is one of the tools that we have to work right now. We have this web page that we call Agroecology Knowledge Hub, where we have a database, we have a agroecology Lex, people from government, civil society organizations, representatives, farmers' representatives, they can find programs, policies, different projects on agroecology all around the world. We have news, we have a repository of publications, articles, courses, etc. The idea is this hub is not to show what FAO are doing on agroecology. This hub is something to be used by the multi-stakeholders that we are working with to show what they are doing and to exchange their information. We have also a monthly newsletter that we would like to offer you to use it. The newsletter is with the same idea, to circulate information, to put the new things available for everyone. We are also developing this global knowledge product that is a tool to produce global and harmonized evidence, information, data, analysis on the multidimensional performance of agroecological systems in order to inform policy making and support the process to transition to agroecology. This is like a matrix that we will use to characterize agroecological systems, and we could compare different systems in different parts of the world, in different levels, and we can also, with time to time, we can have an assessment of the performance of these systems. So this is the tool are organized in three steps. One is the context description. Second one is the characterization of the agroecological transition in each farm or each experience. And the third phase will be the characterizations of the performance. And we will have another, in the breakout session 3, we will have some examples of how these tools are being or will be used by 2 different countries that we are starting to work with, Senegal and Kenya. Talking about the Scaling Up Agroecology Initiative, I have, well, the idea is to have a main guide to support national transition processes through policies and technical capacity, to build some synergies, to work with synergies among countries. It's a framework for concerted action with not only with UN partners, as I said, but also with all kinds of partners. This is not only an UN initiative. This should be something formed by governments, civil society, researchers, etc., and producers, of course. The idea is to build alliance among different stakeholders, and we will try to have some countries, we are decided to work with some countries gradually. The Scaling Up Agroecology Initiative is very, very similar to the previous presentations from the EO and the GIZ initiative. We will work with knowledge and innovation, policy processes, and building connections. And we decided to work with 5 key actions. First of all, strengthening the central role of family farmers and their organizations, and as salvaguarding and utilizing the natural resources. Foster experience of knowledge sharing, collaborative research and innovation. Promote markets for agroecology in the sense that all the others initiatives also talked about. Review institutional policy, legal and financial frameworks to promote agroecology transitions for sustainable food systems, because there are still a lot of blocks in these areas. and take agroecology based on territorial processes. This is important to us. And just to mention, because it's not, we don't have time to develop right now, the 3 countries that we started to work with in these next 2 years will be Senegal, Mexico, and India. In India, we decided to work especially with the state of Andhra Pradesh, where the zero budget natural farming program is already in place. The idea is to work with countries that showed, manifested, required FAO to support them on the creation of a national plan on agroecology, as these three countries have done. But also we will work on demand in the idea that other countries that want to scale up, that wants to work in this direction, we can join forces and help them to scale up agroecology. We don't have yet a clear budget, and this is part of our work this year, because we are working with the other UN partners exactly to sensitize them that we need a clear budget to put in place all these activities, because we are receiving a lot of demands from other countries to develop actions on agroecology. And we know that if we don't have money, this is very difficult. But we believe that we can, together with the partners, find a way to put this initiative in place really in the field, because it's really needed. We feel that there is a momentum for that, and the momentum is now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please an applause for Emma. You already said that there were many synergies actually with the former presentations. So how are we going to connect that all?
Yeah, I think this is just a starting point. I think that we have a lot of things in common, and of course, as I said, the initiative is not FAO only with other UN partners and with governments. Of course, we have to join forces. So I think we can, based on this amazing audience and these amazing experiences, we have to think next steps to concrete this joint collaboration. I don't know exactly how, but I'm sure that this is absolutely imprescindible. Não sei como se diz.
So we have 2 more days also to think about that, how we bring this forward. So please stay tuned. Also, if you have ideas, contact Emma. I think that's very, very important. For me, it seems that there is something going on that's bigger than FAO itself. It's a sort of movement, and actually that also helps us making sure that it stays.
Yeah,
So
okay.
thank you very much. One more time, an applause for Emma. I'd like to close this session actually by repeating what I said this morning. This conference is part of a bigger thing that we have going out there in the world. And as Emma rightfully said, there's a momentum right now to make sure that we scale up agroecology. And we can do that, all of us, by working together, by making sure that others hear of this initiative as well. Because while we have a great deal of brain capacity here in the room, there's also a lot of brain capacity out there of people that do not yet know all the potential of this new movement. So please help in that also and be part of it. With that, I do want to end this session, and actually I wanted to give over to Sylvia for the logistics of the rest of the day.
We can do better than that. Let's appreciate Louise for great moderation. Yeah, so, yes, sir. Yes.
Really, thank you a lot. Moderator, I wanted to really ask you to allow me make one statement. We have been talking about conservation, agroecology, everything. Nobody has mentioned anything about environmental conservation, pollution, and poverty. Poverty came in a bit, but environment, degradation, pollution, e-waste, etc. in the third world developing countries is a major, major problem which has a big omission, and I'd like us to think along that side, please.
Thank you very much, Prof. All right, actually, Prof, you may want to go to Dr. Dacio Gada's session. I think that's one of the things that she's going to be speaking about. So this afternoon we have 4 breakout or parallel sessions. And I just want to draw your attention so you can select the one you want to go to wisely. Number 1 is on the impact of synthetic inputs. We have a session that is going to be headlined by Dr. Dacia Ogada, the Assistant Director of Africa Programs. And I think she did give a pitch about her session, but I want to just emphasize that it is going to be in Samburu, which is right here on my right. This room here on my Ivory? Samburu. I think this is Samburu, and this is Ivory. Then we have Professor Tyrone Hayes. He's going to be also speaking at Ivory. Ivory is up on the hill, up there. Then we have Ms. Venantia Wambua, the project manager of EOA. She'll also be speaking right here in the room that will be on our left. It's called Savo. One of the two is Savo, I'm getting confused. But finally, we have Dr. Judy Kamen, who will be talking a little more about the impact of genetic engineering and GMOs, together with one of her students, Irina, okay, that word I cannot get, but they'll be in Bougainville. So I want you to just look at your program as you make a selection of the choices that you're going to make. So I would like to say that in the interest of time, we would have tea for maybe another 15 minutes or so, and then you just go directly to the session that you'd like to be in. So immediately after the tea, in 15 to 20 minutes, make your way to whichever room. For those of you who are in this room, I'd like you to take everything that you have with you, because we are about to break down the room, and we don't want anybody to lose anything. I want to end on I'm not sure if it's a sad note or a happy note, but I just wanted to inform you that we had initially planned to have a cocktail today, but due to some mix-up with the hotel, we will not be able to have it. But I promise you, we'll make up for it tomorrow at the gala dinner. So that means that you will have a free evening today, and the plans to have a drink together have fallen through. But I do hope still that you will find time to go and meet your friends and just have a good time. So the clock is ticking now. You have your tea. The tea is being served in the corridor here and just outside here. After 20 minutes, please go into your breakout session and start the session. All the best. And for the record, the session tomorrow starts at 8:30 for 8:30 American time. Yeah, guys will need to announce that. Excuse me, an important announcement. Can I have your attention, please? An important announcement. Can I please have your attention? Hello? So we had, I just wanted to say that our bags arrived a little late today.